The James Show Podcast.
So, 4th of July is a time when I'll do this every 4th of July. Make the case that America is the best country in the history of planet Earth and all of mankind. And look, it's not like I did it or you did it, but the people from this country who built this country in generations past, and even now have done just such amazing things that the number one comeback to if America being the greatest country in the world is, if not us, then who? And one thing I find it absolutely exhausting is after you go through the explanation on how this is the best country ever, you still have people that think this country's terrible. This country's racist or fascist or it's awful. It needs to be overthrown. It needs to change fundamentally. It's so bad. Really? If you live in the best country the world has ever known and you're still unhappy, something's wrong with you. And I'm not just saying that because I'm just patriotic, jingoistic, cheerleading for my own tribe. I think there's just enough objective evidence on the table that it's not even close that this is the best country in the world.
What we're living in right now is not an advanced society.
No.
We're calling it fascism. That's what it is. It is fascism. What we're evolving into as well.
Yeah, we live in fascism. It's literally the Third Reich, probably the Fourth Reich, whatever. One thing that gets passed around, kind of ticks me off, is every once in a while this rant from the old HBO show Network, where there's this guy who's a news anchor and he's beloved for decades in journalism, being a straight shooter and always telling the truth, and he has no bias. He just calls balls and strikes, and he's not wrapped up in the whole two-party system. He votes for his country, not a party. He votes for talent, not a ticket. And then at some forum, he has some sort of explosive rant. And my anti-American friends, I have plenty of friends who are Team Blue and hate America. They like to pass this around. What do you think about this? This is so right. So in this rant here, the actor is Jeff Daniels. Yeah, that guy. I like him. He has a Democrat on his right, a Republican on his left, and he's in a forum being asked by college students questions, and he just pops off on this one girl.
What makes America the greatest country in the world? Why is America
not the greatest country in the world, Professor? That's my answer.
You're saying
yes.
Let's talk about...
Fine. Sharon, the NEA is a loser. Yeah, it accounts for a penny out of her paycheck, but he gets to hit you with it anytime he wants. It doesn't cost money. It costs votes. It costs airtime and column inches. You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose. If liberals are so smart, how come they lose so always? Hey, and with a straight face, you're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Australia, Belgium has freedom. So 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom.
All right.
And yet you, sorority girl, just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. And one of them is there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the you're talking about. Yosemite?
Yeah, actually, I kind of hate that little rant. He is so wrong on pretty much everything he said there. Yeah, like 200 countries in the world, 180 of them have freedom. No, we're the only ones with the Second Amendment. We're pretty much the only ones with free speech. In Belgium, you can go to jail for social media posts. Same thing in the UK. Same thing in all these other countries. How many people have you seen? Like in Germany, they're raiding people's houses over social media posts. And not for like actionable threats, just for saying things that the government didn't like. But we are not the leader in only 3 categories. Let me give you some other categories where America is the leader, not just in defense spending and believing in ghosts. We have the largest economy in the world, too. Thank you very much. Kind of a big one. You know anything? Being the richest country on the planet? Kind of a big one. We also have more Nobel Prize winners by a factor of 4. The number 2 country, we have more than 4 times as many as they do. We have the highest number of patents. We are number 1 in the number of immigrants, both legal and illegal, actually. We're number 1 in Olympic medals. We're number 1 in the most billionaires. We're the number 1s with the most nuclear reactors. We're number 1 with the most science paper output. You know, the research papers they get in peer-reviewed journals? Yeah, we're number 1 in all that. I mean, we're number 1 in a bunch of other things when you go looking at, like, who produces the most blueberries and almonds and things like that. But, I mean, those are some pretty big categories, don't you think? The ones that really matter. You know, and I'm not coming up with, like, the little ones, like we make more cheese than anyone else in the world. No, like, in all the important ways. This McAvoy character compares modern America to what? The other countries? Which one's better than America? Who is better? If not us, what is the greatest country in the world? Belgium? Stop it. These people love slamming America. And the frustrating part is how can you be unhappy living here? Go live somewhere else. Go try it somewhere else. I bet you come back. I bet you Rosie O'Donnell's going to come back. I bet anyone else who left, they're probably going to come back. But boy, some people, it's hard to fathom. They really don't like this country, but I don't even get mad at them. They've been taught to not like this country because the objective facts on the ground do not support that idea that this isn't the greatest country in the world. They've been taught that. And it's been a steady stream of whatever it is. Climate change is killing us all, and America's the worst at that. Or, America's nice, but the police are out of hand, and they're just going to thump you on the head if you don't agree with the government. Or, you know, you're being warned about white rural rage or right-wing death squads or white supremacist violence. Hell, they had you scared to breathe air without a mask for a while there. They got you scared of plastic straws. But first and foremost, 1,000 years from now, people will remember America, and they're not going to remember almost any of these other countries that are in America or on the planet right now. You know why? Because we were the first ones to put someone on the moon, Neil Armstrong. When you look back 1,000 years, how many people can you name that were on planet Earth in the year, what is it? 1025. It's 2025. How many people could you name on Earth then? Like maybe 2 or 3? There will be one that we shared the planet with that people will be able to name. It'll be Neil Armstrong. And until someone else does that, come on. It is the crowning achievement of all of mankind. We've had no moon landings from a country that had socialized medicine or universal pre-K. No, it came from a country that has gun rights and a huge carbon footprint. Thank you very much. Of course, America is the best country ever. My next guest, Anthony Russo, is coming back on the James Show. Hey, been a while, Anthony. Welcome back, sir. First off, your thoughts on the big, beautiful bill. Where do you stand on this before we start breaking down the criticism of it?
I'm like you. I'm somewhere in the middle. I do think it didn't do enough. I think it did some stuff in some questionable areas that I'd love to be able to argue back and forth with, whether it would be the Medicaid issue or the food aid issue, stuff like that. But I think that it needed to get done. It needed to keep the tax cuts going that were set to expire, but it's definitely imperfect on its face.
Well, I think it's important to lay out that the people listening know where I criticize this bill, because if you know where I criticize it and then you hear some people's, I don't know, they're trying to talk me out of supporting the bill, they're saying the exact things that I like about it. So I think it should balance the budget, number one, period, point blank, end of story. I don't accept anything or like anything that's not even moving toward a balanced budget. But even more specifically, so many of these programs need to go away completely and not just be trimmed. And so when they complain about, 17 million people are going to lose their benefits. Well, I think it should be 100 million people. We have 100 million people that are getting benefits from the federal government from social programs. And I think that number should be 0. So it confounds me. It's like, do you know who you're talking to? So when Elizabeth Warren says, can you believe how much this cuts? Yeah, not enough. So the criticism just seemed really misplaced to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, for the rare occasion, I do see some of the arguments from the left, and I haven't seen the proper way to answer it from the right or from Trump's side, because I think even the right had a little bit of dissension in it. And when it comes to some of the programs like SNAP benefits and the Medicaid stuff, it's all saying, well, the states are going to have to take care of it. And I firmly believe that's the right way to deal with it. The problem is, how are we I'm not going to say the problem. The question is, how are we going to execute that? Because it can't just drop out of thin air, and nobody's answering exactly how the execution is going to happen. And when it comes to some of these benefits, I was a latchkey kid myself, so I benefited off of some of the programs that should be run by the state, but in most cases are not yet. So the question is, it's cut right now. What's going to happen to the parents and the students that were receiving that help, planning on that help? How are the states going to pick up when there's a lot of states, especially blue ran cities and states, that don't have the finances to keep it going? So the question is, how is the transition going to work out?
Well, let's talk about what happens with these rescission packages. We did a whole show on this yesterday. Pretty much all the James show, 3 hours, was about the big, beautiful bill the last few days. And I keep being promised, hey, I know you don't get the cuts that you like, James, but there's some rescission packages that are coming down the line. And this is something that's never happened before. So I'm kind of skeptical that this is going to be amended or added to, or, there's going to be additional cuts that are coming right down the pike. Do you hear these rumors as well?
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, there's a valid argument to say that bill did so little to the federal deficit that it's actually going to be worse in a few years, and it's going to be adding, because there is areas that it was shifted, including, I believe in border control big time. But at the same time, it's like, where is all this money going that actually relates to what they're saying is a $2 trillion cut, which in some experts, including ones that can't be refuted even by right-wing media, by places like Fox or Newsmax, they can't exactly account for the fact that some are saying that there might be a $3 or $4 trillion increase in the budget. So I'm still confused as to how this is such a great cut to our deficit.
All right, well, let's look at the criticism that's coming from the people who don't like this. They're saying the classic line here of, this takes money from poor people and transfers it to rich people. And they show the charts and whatnot. But I find that language incredibly misleading, because it's not transferring money from poor people to rich people. It's stopping the transfer of some money from all of us to poor people and allowing the rich people to continue keeping their income at the same rate that they are this year. They're not getting an additional tax cut. They're just going to keep the rates that we have right now. So we're not giving them any money. We're just not going to take additional money from them starting next year. So the language around this has been real dishonest.
No, you are 100% accurate. So, and that's the same as with when people say 14 million seniors are going to lose their benefits. It's actually not going to, it's could. There's a lot of coulds based on how it's handled. Like I said in the beginning, the execution matters, how it's going to be shifted to the states. But they somehow think that it's journalistic integrity and it's okay to just drop the word could and just say it is going to happen. And it's not. It's very dishonest on their part. At the same token, I think we should be asking questions. I think everybody, and I think journalists, I think other politicians, how is this going to go into effect? How are these massive cuts going to go into effect? And what you just outlined is another example of in my head, I hear the fact that the deficit's going to go up because you're not changing anything to the rich. You're taking a little bit away from the poor, but there's not any more tax dollars being collected, which I think is good, because I don't believe in taxation on a large level. But at the same time, if we're already in a deficit, where are we making up that money? And I don't think this bill was clear enough. I'm kind of on the Elon Musk side on this, where I think it's imperfect enough to where we have to fight for the side of being a fiscal conservative. And I do think there's some big misses. I do think there's some really big successes. I think the AI portion of the bill was a big deal. That was one of the very controversial parts that wasn't talked about enough, because as we see all these fun memes on social media with all this AI and not being able to tell when it's real or fake or not, unless you really think puppies can jackknife into a pool, which is adorable, by the way. But with that, we have no idea where AI is going to be in a couple of years. And there was an original line in there to completely strip regulation. And in the rare occasion I believe in governmental regulation, I think it needs to be in there. And that part got removed. So the states are still going to have the right to regulate AI as they see fit.
All right, Anthony Russo, where do we find your work outside of WBAP these days?
You know, I'm back doing a podcast, The Daily Truth. I've been doing it on social media, but you can find it on all the podcast networks. It's The Daily Truth. You can find me on Instagram at Anthony Michael Russo. Shout out to Johnny Fireworks for what they did by I don't know if you've done the story, but I'd look it up and add it to one of your later segments. But shout out to Jonathan Cook for what he did on the people that robbed him for 4th of July and still managed to make a grace and friendship out of it and a great story. So check that out.
I'll look for that. Anthony Russo, thank you very much for being on The James Show. America's 249 years old today. And I love the fact that we decided for the 4th of July that we're going to celebrate by blowing stuff up. I haven't done a 23andMe, so I don't know what percentage of me is white trash, but it's pretty strong. And so 4th of July this is our chance to shine. I don't know if you realize this, but this is our Super Bowl. This is sort of like the white trash. Oh, like we get excited. Like, oh my goodness, this is one of the 2 times a year they'll actually legally sell me explosives. You know how exciting that is for a trashy kid? Do you understand how happy that makes us? That's why they put it in Joe Dirt, the fireworks stand part. This hits home.
Well, I see you got them snakes and sparklers, but where's good stuff, man?
Good stuff. This is the good stuff. Snakes and sparklers.
Are you nuts, dude? You need stuff to explode. Go boom.
Why is that good?
You might as well ask, why is the tree good? Why is the sunset good? Why are boobs good? Man, firecrackers. So you're going to tell me that you don't have no black cats, no Roman candles, or screaming Mimis?
No.
Oh, come on, man. You don't got no lady fingers, buzz buttles, snicker bombs, church burners, finger blasters, gut busters, zippity doo-dahs, or crap flappers?
No, I don't.
You're going to stand there owning a fireworks stand and tell me you don't have no whistling bungholes, no spleen splitters, whisker biscuits, honky lighters, Husker do's, Husker don'ts, cherry bombs, nipsy daisers, with or without the scooter stick, or one single whistling kitty chaser?
Yeah, that hits home, man. I want to blow all those up. And I feel Joe Dirt's pain there because when he says boom, and why is that good? Why is an explosion good? I don't have an answer for that. I realize I can't answer that. I realize it's just some part of I'm messed up, maybe. But explosions aren't awesome to everyone. Everyone doesn't think blowing stuff up is hilarious. Because I certainly do. But I do have, look, as someone who has blown a lot of stuff up, I have a few tips for you for the 4th of July from the James Show. Number one, for safety's sake, keep it a bucket of water. Keep it, you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, just the regular old feed bucket that costs $4. Get one of those. Have a bucket of water. When things get a little squirrely, get out of hand, you can just chunk it in there and save yourself a lot of trouble by trying to run out and hit it with a garden hose or something. But a couple other tips here for 4th of July safety. You can put out a sparkler by pinching it with your fingers. Like you do a candle, you can just pinch it out. The difference is, though, it'll burn you. It'll burn the snot out of you. You can do it. You can put it out. It'll burn you really bad, so don't do it. You can. It's just you're not going to like the result. Melted skin is a thing. I found out the hard way. Do you know what a fountain is? Because I feel like there's a divide in the listening audience between city kids and country kids. Because country kids know all the fireworks. And we used to freak out if we had a new friend that just moved in from Houston or Dallas out to Bug Tussle for the 4th of July. They're like, oh, y'all get to blow up fireworks? Can I go? We never got to do that. And we would be like, oh, no, you never got to blow. Oh, you're going to love this. This is so great. And we got to, take city kids and show them the ins and outs of how to blow stuff up. And they jumped right on it. We were just shocked that they never got to do this before. But does everyone know what a fountain is? Those are the ones that you light them and they just shoot stuff not way up in the air, but, maybe 2, 3, 4 feet above the little tube that it's sitting on. So it makes a cool little display and usually lasts a few seconds. You can jump right through those. Put it in the street in front of your house or in your driveway or somewhere. Light it, jump through it. get your wife to video it on the slow-mo setting, and then it looks awesome because you can't see anything but the fountain because the light, is dominating and making everything else dark. So all of a sudden, you just show up as a silhouette and then bust through. All these sparks are shooting up in your face, and you can see it like bounce off your cheek or bounce off your chin or your stomach or whatever. And I don't know, it just looks super patriotic and awesome. If you make a slow-mo video, please share it on Facebook or something, or send it to me, james@wbap.com. You can also, if you have bottle rockets, but you're shooting in the street, don't use a bottle. Bottle's made of glass. It could fall over. It could break. Use the tube that comes with your artillery shells, because I know you're getting artillery shells too, right? But here's a little secret of the pros. And if you got kids in the back, don't do this, okay? Kids that are listening in the back seat, I never did this. This is all for comedy's sake, and I'm making this up. But you can undo a whole string of black cats. You can take black cats and just start peeling the paper back and unrolling it, and get a tiny little hit of gunpowder out of each one. But if you do a whole package of black cats, you get the 200, you can get a salad bowl full of gunpowder, right? And then you don't want to keep it in the salad bowl. You want to keep it with something with a lid on it. So you put it in a butter tub, get an old country crock butter tub, take your whole pile of gunpowder, put it in the butter tub, and now you have a butter tub full of gunpowder. And as a 12-year-old boy in bug tussle, you have a butter tub full of gunpowder. You can do just about whatever you want. You're the coolest kid in town. Life is good, bro. You know how awesome it is to be a 12-year-old boy in the middle of the country and have a butter tub full of gunpowder? I don't think you've thought this through. This sounds like heaven. Wives are looking at their husbands. The husband's slowly nodding. He's right, honey. And the wives don't get it. They're like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Well, you don't get it? You don't understand why blowing stuff up is cool? I don't think girls get it. Some girls do. Maybe if you got one of the cool ones. But ladies, if your husband wants to do the butter tub full of gunpowder, just let him do it. Just let him do it. Worst thing's worse, he blows off a hand. Whoop-de-doo. You have any 4th of July tips? 800-288-9227. Oh, my goodness. I hope no one blows off any digits because of bad advice from this show. Again, don't do anything I said. I was just making all that up for fun. I never unrolled 200 black cats with Brandon Turner into a empty butter tub for country crock. Nope. We sure never, and we didn't take it out and bury it in the backyard and blow it up. Oh, man. Why is blowing up stuff so fun? This is what I love about the 4th of July. America's awesome. It deserves all the celebration in the world. Greatest country ever. And we get to blow stuff up. It's perfect. This is Terry in Springtown. You're on WBAP.
Are you a moron?
Could be. Why? What's up?
You're just giving more information to somebody that's already sick and telling them how to build a bomb that all they've got to do is add some other ingredients and devastate things.
Oh, you think like a terrorist hadn't thought of that before, and now they're listening to the James show, and I gave them the tools they need?
I have no idea. I have no doubt that terrorists have thought of this, but I know a lot of high school kids haven't. And
high school? I was in middle school.
A high school kid or a middle school kid that's mentally unbalanced and says, oh, I can't take a gun to school, but I can take this tub of butter or this, item to school and set it off. And now you've just created a situation that could go very wrong.
Okay, so there could be, you're right. There could be some sort of psychopathic, unstable, mentally speaking 12-year-old, and they got this idea from me. But these kids also go to school with hundreds of other 12-year-olds who are thinking the same thing that I thought when I was a kid. We all just saw black cats, and they're like, how's that work? Does it just have some gunpowder in there? Yeah. So if you just unroll that, you can get black gunpowder. The funny part of the last segment is what I was saying wasn't any big, brilliant revelation. It's actually really dumb and intuitive to even the least among us. Of course, it's not a brilliant idea to unroll black cats into a butter tub and keep all your gunpowder. I mean, I did it, but it's like not brilliant, and it's not hard to think of, and it's not like, well, that was the last key of information they needed to do a terrible attack on their fellow students. This is really what you got out of that segment? I think you worry too much, Terry.
Well, no. I grew up in the era when M80s were available on the street for firecrackers, and I know that throwing them down the toilet in school was a big thing.
The cherry bombs.
The cherry bombs.
Yeah, they were lucky they got rid of those before I was a kid, or I'd have done the same dumb thing.
And, I understand the thrill of explosions and everything. I did 20 years in the Marine Corps. And, yes, I understand all that. But I also understand when you put something out on the air that you've got to give some forethought.
No, Terry.
No,
you worry too much. You worry too much.
Well, when you take and hear something that happens and it's like, oh, could I have prevented that? Yeah,
I'm willing to accept that risk, Terry. I thank you I appreciate your concern. Thanks, Dad. All right, Trey in Blue Ridge. Are you going to poo on my phone too?
No, you might want to tell Terry turn off the phone because he's going to hate me. You just made me laugh when you were talking about blowing up stuff and being country, because I was raised country, but I lived in Blue Ridge, and a guy that was from the city and his kids went to Columbia came home on 4th of July vacation, and he paid me to blow up his car, which I used 12 pounds of tannerite to blow it up just to give them a show.
Oh, man, that is so awesome. You are so lucky. I wish someone would pay me to blow up their car.
I'll send you the video.
Oh, you have a video of it, too. See, this is stuff. I think we're just dumb in the country. We just love blowing stuff up. And another thing that we have in the country that city kids, you would be so jealous to know that we have access to, like, giant machinery, like tractors and stuff, and you can just knock over trees or dig giant holes. I don't know. I feel like we had a lot more fun blowing stuff up and being destructive. Yeah, sorry, Terry. I hope you didn't hear Trey in Blue Ridge. But, and thank you for your call, Trey. Absolutely right. Yeah. Terry's worried about a butter tub full of black cat guts. Wait until they find out about tannerite. Hey, crazy kids out there thinking about blowing up schools. You ever heard of tannerite? How about that, Terry? Joey Chestnut won the hot dog eating contest. He took a year off, came back, reclaimed his title, 70 and a half hot dogs, which I find absolutely disgusting. This is so gross. Look, how many hot dogs do you think you could eat? 6, 7? Like, that might be my limit. And you know how miserable you would be? Yeah, I would just be on the couch, just holding my stomach, go, I ate 8 hot dogs. This dude ate 70. Now, think of the physics of this. Where do they all fit in this man? Joey Chestnut is not a man of size. I'm bigger than he is. I probably outweigh him, too. He's just a regular-sized dude. Where does all that go? How does all that work? You know how you have, like, your entrails, your bowels, your small intestine, large intestine, just that maze, that corkscrew, the turns and the twists that all your food has to go through. 70 hot dogs has to go through that? Oh, my God. How does he not die? I remember there was a radio contest where there was, like, hold your Wii for a Wii. You could win a Nintendo Wii if you drank a bunch of water and whoever the last one was to go to the bathroom. Well, some people drank a bunch of water and they ended up dying because they had too much water. Water can kill you, but 70 hot dogs can't? I would die. I'd like the amount of nitrates. I would just pickle up. I would look like the Crypt Keeper. My hair would be all stringy. Oh, and I'm worried about him. I'm worried about his well-being. And I'm also worried about his backside. Because think about this. What happens tomorrow for Joey Chestnut? I mean, how much of July 5th does this guy spend in the bathroom? Like 23 out of 24 hours? How long does that take? What an awful process that must be. Does he just, like, poo and then, like, have to take a nap, and then he wakes up and he goes to the bathroom and he's there for hours and he gets out and he's all exhausted from the process? It's probably like giving birth. He probably has to do, like, Lamont's breathing exercises and stuff for July 5th. You think there's a lot of glory and, getting your face on TV and winning all kinds of money? He's paying the price for this tomorrow. I feel bad for him. And his plumber, probably. 800-288-9227. I know you don't have anything to add to that, but 800-288-9227. Coming up next, we are going to continue our coverage of the big, beautiful bill and the economy. We're expecting Trump to come out and sign the big, beautiful bill in the picnic at the White House at 4. I imagine it'll be a few minutes late, so you'll just hear it live on The James Show whenever it comes up next. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
The James Show Podcast.